Hi, today we are going to talk about internationalization strategies towards the Asia Pacific region for small and medium sized enterprises, SMEs. My teammates are Pérez Ortega Eliel, Vázquez Hernández Medalia, Castro Bustamante Midori Guadalupe, Osorio Gómez Luis, Mejía del Prado Jesús Tadeo y Regules Ramos Ángel Adrián. Why is Asia Pacific relevant for Mexican SMEs? This region has been growing very fast. It has huge purchasing power, and many consumers are actively looking for imported products. That means there is a space for Mexican brands in areas like food, fashion, beauty, and services. But at the same time, it's not an easy market. Companies need to understand local regulations, business culture, and quality standards. So, in this presentation, we don't just talk about opportunities, but also about what SMEs need to prepare before entering. A overview of the Asian market. Main markets. Asia is obviously very big, so we focus on a few key markets that are especially relevant for Mexico: China, Japan, South Korea, Singapore, Vietnam, and India. Each of these markets is different in terms of consumer preferences, regulations, and level of competition. Let's begin with China. China is the second largest economy in the world and has a massive middle class that keeps growing. This creates a huge demand for imported products, especially in food and beverages, fashion, beauty, and specialized manufacturing services. However, it is also a very competitive market. Chinese consumers often prefer brands with a strong story or clear differentiation, not just another product. Another key point is that e-commerce dominates. Platforms like Tmall, JD, or Douyin are essential to reach consumers. For Mexico, opportunities are mainly in premium food and drinks, affordable fashion, sustainable or organic products, and technology and manufacturing services, as long as they can comply with the strict customs and health standards. Now, Japan. This is a market with very high purchasing power, but also very demanding consumers. Quality, safety, and presentation are crucial. Sometimes the packaging and design are almost as important as the product itself. Business relationships in Japan are built in trust, formality, and consistency. That means long term perspective, being punctual, and delivering exactly what was promised. The most promising areas for Mexican SMEs are gourmet and local products, minimalist fashion and design, natural or clean cosmetics, and specialized components or precision manufacturing. Of course, to enter companies must follow strict regulations, especially in food products. Next is South Korea. South Korea is a global technology hub with young, highly connected consumers. Trends move fast and are heavily influenced by key culture, music, dramas, and influencers. Digital marketing is super important here, and consumers pay a lot of attention to design and innovation. For Mexican SMEs, there are good opportunities in fashion and textiles, healthy foods, especially coffee and unique snacks, as well as beauty and personal care products, which fit well with the key beauty environment. The entry is competitive, but if you understand the trend that move quickly, the potential is high. Singapore plays a different role. It is a logistics and financial hub for Southeast Asia and works as a gateway to Asian region, which has more than 650 million people. It has very clear regulations, high purchasing power, and an open economy, which makes CTD ideal for setting up representative offices or distribution centers to serve the region. The main opportunities are in professional and technological services, premium foods, and specialized B2B products. That is, products and services that are sold to other companies rather than directly to the final consumer. Vietnam. Then we have Vietnam, one of the fastest growing economies in Asia. It's becoming an alternative manufacturing base to China, with lower costs and a growing industrial sector. Vietnamese partners often value long term relationships, but there is also rising local competition, so differentiation is still important. Opportunities for Mexican SMEs include light machinery and technology, food and beverages, agricultural products, and manufacturing materials like textiles or leather. And finally, India. India is now the most populous country in the world, with a very young population and a fast growing middle class. Digitalization is advancing rapidly, but the country is also very diverse culturally and regionally. Regulations can be complex, and some processes sometimes slow, so companies need patience and good local support. The biggest companies are in technology and software, digital services, natural cosmetics, and processed foods and supplements, especially if you can adapt to local tastes and segments. After understanding the markets, the next question is how can SMEs actually enter Asia Pacific? There are several strategies: direct or indirect exporting, either selling directly to clients or working with local distributors or trading companies, strategic alliance and joint ventures, partnering with a local company that already knows the market, regulations, and culture. Use of e-commerce and digital platforms, especially important in markets like China and South Korea, where consumers are very used to buying online. And also participating in trade fairs and business missions, which is often the first step to make contacts, test the interest, and understand the market better. There are also some operational strategies that are key for success. Adapting the product to the local market. This can mean changing the flavor, size, packaging, or even the brand message so it fits the local expectations. Designing efficient logistic strategies to manage long distances, delivery times, and cost. Working on intercultural marketing, that is communication that respects local values, symbols, and way of doing business. And finally, deciding whether the company needs a physical presence or a distribution center in the region, or if it can operate through partners only. Key challenges and barriers. Of course, not everything is opportunity. Mexican companies face important challenges when they try to enter Asia Pacific. The first one is limited access to financing. Many SMEs have trouble getting loans or credit because of strict banking requirements or lack of collateral. High interest rates and limited venture capital also slow down growth. A second big challenge is regulatory complexity. Rules change from country to country. Registration processes, taxation, certification, and all of this can delay operation and increase cost if the firm is not prepared. We also have digitalization gaps. Even though digital transformation is moving fast, many SMEs still don't have the skills, infrastructure, or budget to adopt tools like e commerce, cloud computing, or digital payments. In addition, in some parts of the region, there are infrastructure constraints. For example, poor transport networks or weak internet connectivity, which can make it harder to reach certain markets or manage supply chains efficiently. Another issue is the competition from large enterprises. SMEs often have to compete against big domestic corporations or multinational companies that have more resources, stronger brands, and economies of scale. And finally, limited access to international markets is still a problem. problem, barriers like tariffs, complex export procedures, and lack of reliable market information mean many SMEs are not fully integrated into a global value chains yet. Because of all these challenges, support instruments have become very important, especially for Mexican SMEs. On one hand, there are government programs in Mexico, for example, through institutions like Bancomext, which offer financing and guarantees for export projects. There are also business organizations and chambers of commerce that help companies connect with partners, participate in trade fairs, or get information for regulations. At the international level, SMEs can access financing and technical support programs, as well as consulting and soft landing services that guide them through the process of entering a new market in Asia Pacific. To make this more concrete, let's look at two success stories. The first one is Kitsania, a Mexican edutainment company that creates cities where children can role play different jobs. To enter Japan, instead of going alone, Kitsania formed a joint venture with a local partner that knew the real estate market and the cultural context. They also adapt the activities to Japanese social norms, especially around politeness and behavior. Kitsania Tokyo was a big success and opened the door for expansion into another markets like Indonesia, South Korea, and Malaysia. This example shows how important local partnership and cultural adaptation are. The second case is Sucarne, a Mexican beef company that managed to compete in Japan and South Korea, two of the most demanding markets in terms of food safety. Instead of insisting on standard Mexican cuts, Sucarne customized its product. They develop precise, smaller cuts designed especially for local dishes such as yakiniku and shabu shabu. They also invested in strong traceability systems to meet Japanese health certifications and demonstrate that their meat is safe and high quality. Today, Japan is one of the main export destinations, proving that Mexican products can compete globally when they adapt to local needs. Conclusion: to conclude, the Asian Pacific region represents a big mix of challenges and big opportunities for Mexican SMEs. The opportunities come from high growth, purchasing power, and demand for imported products. These challenges are related to competition, regulation, financing, and cultural and logistical adaptation. However, as we saw with Kitsania and Sucarne, with the right strategy, local partners, product adaptation, and support instruments, successful expansion is absolutely possible. Thank you very much for your attention.